Welcome back to the channel, everyone. And in this video, I'm going to go over on what I would do if I was going to get into cyber at different levels with different types of experience from zero to former manager experience in a different sector or different field. I'm going to go over what I would do as far as what certifications I would get or go for at least to get my foot in the door. Now, mind you, there are other factors and variables that can get you into cyber without these certifications. I'm just speaking on if I needed to go the certification route and or if it was required. That's what I'm going to be going off of this video. For me, now you could take it with a grain of salt. I'm not saying you should do it or this is the end all be all. But remember, everyone has, actually, let me take a step back. I watched a lot of these videos for the past couple of years, especially once I made my transition into cyber. People have different backgrounds, experiences, work experience, life experience, different forms of education, certifications, different aspects or skills that they gain outside of the workforce that could be transitioned to the workforce, quote unquote, networking, being a networking guru, genius, expert, social engineering, persuasion, negotiation, that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of different variables watching these different variables. And again, I am saying for myself, nor am I saying those people are wrong or right. Those situations that they say for themselves could work. And I've seen it happen. Now, they also say, for the most part, at least the ones that I've seen, and I've saw a couple of them, but majority, most of them, 99% of them say these are my experiences and what I would do. They're not saying they're the end all be all. You have to do it this way. You can only do it this way. No. So remember, take it with a grain of salt. Look at it just from a outside looking in perspective. These are what I would do with my real life experiences, my knowledge, my skill set, what I've done in the past in different fields. So that being said, let's get into this video and we'll go from there. So again, these are just what I would do with my experiences from my knowledge base on people I've talked to, being in cybersecurity, talking to other people, knowing other people, networking with other people that are managers and what they look for someone coming in. Again, from zero experience to former manager or for manager experience, senior manager experience, possibly even director level. That might be a little tricky, but at least for the manager level's perspective with a certain skill set on what I would do to transition. Now, that being said, the first one I would do with no experience, because it seems like from what I gather and from what I hear about talking to people, this is a baseline, Security Plus. Now, I took Security Plus back in 2010, and I believe it was a 201. Never did the recertification. Back then, I was going for my CCNA. I took an ethical hacking class at Mission College in Santa Clara, California. They didn't, back then, the way the instructor stated why they didn't go into certain portions of ethical hacking, is what the course was actually called, is because of a legality issue with the school. And that's when he said he would recommend certain certifications or certain other baselines of knowledge or courses for that matter. And that was back in 2011. So that being said, Security Plus, I would say, is the baseline to get in. And not only that, I know for most government jobs, it is a requirement to be in some kind of security field, cyber, obviously, network security. From what I've seen, it is a requirement. Now, I've never worked in the government or in the military for cyber or networking. When I was in the military, it was completely opposite. I had no aspirations of doing cyber or any of that stuff. I went for one thing only, got hurt, change of plans. But even then, I didn't even know the requirements. Like I said, I was on far left field as far as me wanting to do any kind of cyber or network security in the military or government for that matter. So as far as government requirement and actually a baseline with no skill set, this one I would shoot for. You're going to get the overall concepts of actual overall security. And yes, this even touches on physical security a bit, or at least it did in 201. I haven't opened a Security Plus book since then. That's back when they had Borders and Barnes and Nobles, and you get the 2 different books plus the practice exam book, or had 2 or 3. Oh no, that's right. It was 2. The CCNA had ICND1, ICND2, then the practice exam, the box set one. So this one only had 2, I believe, if I remember correctly. But anyway, I don't know how they look now. I don't know what it is now, if it's all digital. But anyway, this one is what I would start on a baseline. And I know some people might say this might be too advanced. And I'm like, look, dude, if you really want fucking something, you're going to put your effort and go hard. You can't do this. You can't complain or say, oh, it's this and this. If it's a life or death situation, you have kids, you gotta take care of your kids, you gotta put a roof over your head, you're gonna find a way to fucking get it done. Plain and simple. So that's just the way it is. I would say for me, this would be a baseline, in my opinion. People might not agree, but I would say no experience, this is the one I would touch on first. As far as certifications, now, this video is only for certifications. This ain't about your gift of gab, your social engineering, persuasion, networking. This isn't on if you have a PMP for project management coming into cyber. This is just straight out the blue. I want to get some basic skills to try to get my foot in the door. This would be the first one I'd knock off, because especially if you don't have an idea of what area or field you want to get into cyber, I would definitely go this route. Now, the second one, this is the one I would go for if I was going to try to get into offensive security. Now, some people might agree, some people might not. Here's why I would go for this one. And again, this is my opinion. I'm not saying this is the end all be all, or, what have you. The way their training is structured, it is pretty much handholding, and I mean that in no respect. I mean, they literally walk you down the line. And for the exam, you literally get everything in this training. It's not like OSCP, or if you hate videos for Hack the Box, you're going to lose interest because you got to read. Well, fucking suck it up, buttercup. That's just my opinion. Again, I'm old school. This one is great because I think it's great for beginners, the way they explain everything, the way they go over. Pretty much they go over, especially building up your lab, getting that experience from an Active Directory standpoint. This one, I would go, if you're going and trying to get into the offensive security side of things, this is the one I would hit first, especially if you have no background in offensive security, but, quote unquote, but you understand Linux, you understand networking. You don't have to be an expert, but understand where you can move around in Linux. You understand certain protocols, you understand the different layers in networking. Then this is the one I would go for, because if you have no experience in that, you shouldn't even be doing any kind of offensive security certs, in my opinion. You got to start from the beginning, understand Linux, networking, and move your way up. Now, their training, I think, is great to start off. It helps you understand not just the actual labs and the material, but the way they go over it. Like I said, it's pretty much hand-holding. I really like how they do that, and it's straight to the point. And the key thing for me too is, and I know people are worried about costs, and I get it. You don't have to buy anything outside of this training. You can if you want, but you do not have to. Everything for the exam is literally in this training. That's why I would recommend it. Just because of the time, cost, etc. Everything is in there, and you're going to understand the overall basic concepts of penetration testing. From AD, external, you're going to get a good baseline understanding. This would be my recommendation. Again, going into offensive security, quote unquote, with basic network and Linux. For trying to get into offensive security, I would definitely go this one and recommend this one first, just because everything's all compiled and packaged pretty much to a T as far as the training, videos, how to set up your labs, getting that some of that hand-on experience. This would be my recommendation for offensive security. Now, the next one's going to be a little tricky. I say that because I actually asked some friends over the weekend on what they would recommend. They are in actual GRC, and I've actually worked with 2 of them in the past. Actually, at Box, to be exact. So, and I've actually been looking for some compliance GRC certifications to do some stuff on the outside as well. So this one is going to be tricky because from what I see on YouTube, a lot of people putting out, even on LinkedIn, that GRC is the pretty much the way in. And there's a lot of videos saying that a lot of people don't need experience. I kind of find that hard to believe. Now, if you have, I've said this in a couple of videos in the past that yes, this is your way in for facilities, real estate, health and safety, HR, legal. This would be your way into cybersecurity on the easy path, just because you already have that compliance, ethics, and auditing in your background, knowing how to manage external and internal vendors, teams, and stuff like that. Oh, someone here? Nope, thought someone was here. So that being said, that would be my recommendation. Now, again, I don't know what those people are. Maybe they've seen it. I'm not knocking them, but I just wouldn't go straight blinded to GRC because it could be a lot to handle. Now, that being said, coming in with that different background, again, some of those career fields where you do manage compliance, auditing, ethics, all that stuff. From what I've been told and recommended, and also doing my own research, this one would be the best overall cert. That's just the overall certification to get into GRC. I would definitely recommend this one, the Certified Compliance and Ethics Professional, CCEP. I've never done this. I've looked into it a little bit, but this seems like to be the best overall one to get in. Again, with certain experiences in a previous or your past career field, looking to break into GRC. Again, this is what I've been told that have been recommended. This is the one I would shoot for. Last but not least is the CISSP. Now, if you're some kind of manager, senior manager, I'm going to put director up there with the asterisk. This is the one to look for. However, for me, and I've spoken on this in videos as well, don't go into cyber being a manager, senior manager, director, or even executive, not knowing what you're doing, just getting that title just because you have previous experience. Yeah, you might be great managing a team, you might be great leading, but you don't understand what you're leading or managing. And I hate dealing with managers like that, because you go into some of these project meetings or certain crisis management, war rooms, business continuity, tabletops, the whole nine, right? And you're like, what the hell is this guy talking about? He has no clue. So it's not a good look. For me, before you even go this route, get hands-on experience. And that's what I'm doing, right? Finally making that full transition into offensive security. I want to get back into managing a team. But I want to be able to not just manage a team. I want to be able to know what you're doing. And I always go on the even previous manager, senior manager roles, at least have an 80% knowledge base, 20% leaning on your team. Especially when you're a manager, you're not going to be able to do everything hands-on. There are those ones that do it, that like to do things, don't delegate. Those are the ones that always fail. However, in cyber, I will say the managers, at least from my experience that I've seen managing teams, leading these efforts and incident responses, the managers that are really good, knowledgeable, the ones you get mad at that say, I need to shut up, because you want them to keep talking so you can soak in that knowledge, the ones that they always call on during incident responses, or have them launch up, spin up different war rooms for different cyber units during an incident. These guys know the shit like the back of their hand. Splunk flu, CrowdStrike, how to find shit, an anomaly, dark trace. I mean, these guys, and they not only know it, but they are expert teachers at this stuff, and how to formulate things, how to find things, it's just insane. So for me, in my experience, again, especially in cyber, it's best to have that hands-on knowledge. Now, it might take a little while, and that's fine, but trust me, you will not regret it in the long run, especially during an incident, crisis, tabletop exercise. uh, trust me, you will not regret it getting that hands-on experience before you even jump into that manager, senior manager, director level role, or CISO role for that matter. Um, Now, for this certification, I've never taken it. I've looked into it before. There was one chance when I was going to actually take it. If I remember correctly, I don't know if it's changed back then, but you needed like, was it 2 or 5, 10 years, something of experience, and you could just write the shit down or fake your resume back then. This was back when Barnes and Nobles and Borders, the Bay Area. I don't know if they had Borders outside of the Bay Area or California, but this was a long time ago. From what I remember back then, this was kind of like the CPP, the Certified Protection Professional for ASIS, for physical security. It's more of, again, I don't know if it's changed. It's more of a, I guess you would say, consultant-based concept framework of the overall information security space. That's what I got from it. I'm not a fan. I don't see myself taking this unless I get a kick-ass role and it's 100% required. Therefore, they're going to be paying for it. Other than that, I don't see me taking this. But this is the one that is recommended, and that people I've seen, people that I speak to, that they look for this, or it's preferred or recommend, highly preferable. If they have those certain certs on LinkedIn and stuff like that. So that being said, that would be my one. At least if you're going in new and you want that extra star on your resume, I would probably recommend this. I'm not trying to be a CISO. I'm never going to say never, but I don't see that, especially with all the stuff coming down with the SEC. In my opinion, it's just not worth the headache. And then you might have to even get your own personal insurance for cyber and some stupid shit. So again, I haven't looked into all that. And right now, like I said, it's not in my pathway. I will never say never, but it's just not looking like it right now. That being said, on the thumbnail, I did have OSCP. Now, I see that a lot, that people say they recommend OSCP for a beginner cert. It's not. You got to understand Linux. You got to understand networking. If you don't have that foundation, even PNPT, like I just said, it's not a beginner cert. That's if you already have those baselines, but you want to jump into cyber or offensive security. I would go the PNPT first, especially if you're on a budget, because OSCP, the training is horrible. And now with this whole change, them being acquired, yeah, it's still the standard, but you got to look at the time changes. I would just go this route to get a better understanding. It's kind of hard, right? Because you got it still as a standardized cert for now, but is it really worth it? Are you really going to gain a lot? Because if you do now there are still, from what I read, if I remember correctly, there are still the 3 boxes, but now you're going to start from a PJPT standpoint. Is the $1,700 really worth it? That's how I look at it from a cost-based perspective. And everything seems to be trending down as far as from OffSec's concerned, as far as a company standpoint. So this one, again, is a little tricky because there's a lot of variables that come into play with these, right? And again, I'm not putting anyone down on YouTube. I'm not saying I'm the end all be all. You got to look at it from yourself. Take different people's perspectives, experiences as a grain of salt. Remember, everyone's different. Everyone's older, younger, or I'm sorry, not everyone's older. Everyone's at a different age. I'm older. So I'm going to have more experiences, obviously, in other sectors because I wasn't into cyber. It was more of a hybrid role. So, you got to take that with a grain of salt and actually do your own research, do your own networking. Talk to people outside, talk to people at certain conferences that you don't know of, like you've never met. Just go up to people and start shooting the shit with them. Get different ideas, different perspectives. And also, what I like to do too is go on LinkedIn, type in the job roles that you want or looking for. Not that I'm looking for a job, but kind of get ahead of the trends and curves and see what they're looking for. Like for me, for example, offensive security, red teaming, pen testing. Are more and more starting to put cloud, Azure and AWS pen testing certs or overall cloud certs? Are they starting to put more AI certifications or training on there? Are they looking for that? If you have that, preferably highly recommended, stuff like that. Get ahead of that stuff. And whatever you want to go into, threat hunting, offensive security, GRC, whatever, SOC, incident response, you could kind of see where the trends are going. That's what I kind of talk about, being ahead of the trends and the curves. And I'm not saying you have to do every single certification, but at least get some of the good ones that you can't afford, that you can right now, and knock them out, because that's going to help you in the long run, especially on LinkedIn. When they see that, they look for these certain recruiters look for these certain certs. Your name's going to pop up in those searches. So that's what I would do. That's what I would recommend. Again, this is from me, what I would do coming in from zero experience to having some experience. So this is from me only. Again, use it to how you would do it. Change it. You might have a background in accounting, or HR, or certain kinds of engineering. Use that experience and transform it to where you can get in. Project management, PNP. That's another, like GRC. That's another stepping stone into cyber. A ton of program and project managers right now there's a lot of jobs like that for cyber, even certain integration projects. So utilize whatever skills you have, network, and then also kind of look to see where the trends are going. So that's what I would do. These are my recommendations for what I would do. Take it with a grain of salt, change it up. Your experiences are probably going to be different than mine. Your age is going to be different than mine. Your how do you say it? Your life is probably different. I am single with 2 kids. You probably still in college, or don't have any kids, don't have a family where you could, go full 100% go. So again, everyone's place and life is different, backgrounds, experience. So I'm not going to beat a dead horse. So that's it for the video, everyone. Please like, comment, share, subscribe, and gonna put out a couple more videos this week, and we'll get into the next one. And also, for those, that's what I was gonna say, my CPTS is still in review. I just shot them another email this morning, so hopefully that gets released this week, and hope to just knock that out if I don't pass. So that's it for the video. Hope you all have a great day, and see you later in the week. Have a good one.